Hi guys, it's a Deadly Kitten here. Basically I just wanted to come on here and kind of tell a story of what happened to me this weekend, mostly because I had plans on making a bunch of videos on Saturday. My boyfriend was out of town for the weekend, so I was here all by myself. So I was like, okay, well, on Saturday basically I'm gonna do a lot of videos. I had these ideas. I was gonna start trying to attempt to do them, but that never happened because honestly I was scared for my life. So right now I'm gonna sit there and say, if you're triggered by, I would say, like, sexual harassment, I will see you in my next video, and ask you to leave because I don't want anyone being triggered. This is also why I'm not wearing any makeup. It's really dark. I understand that, and I'm so sorry. But I kind of also need to get this out, for myself, you know. And I'm sorry, my cats are currently playing, so that is what you're hearing, in the background there, if you can hear it. But basically, my boyfriend decided that with him and a bunch of his friends, that they were going to go camping this weekend. In the middle of basically nowhere. No cell reception, nothing. And so, Friday, I was fine. They left, like, around noon, got there around 4 o'clock. So, it's like, okay. You know, he called me right before he got there, like, right before they were about ready to lose cell reception. Sit there and say he's about 40 minutes away, he'll be okay. So it's like, okay. Friday was fine. I watched the Dead by Daylight tournament on Twitch, which I was super mad about, but that's for a whole different reason. If you guys did not know, I am a gamer. And that was another thing I was going to do this weekend, was I just bought Rise of the Tomb Raider. So I was going to play that. That never happened. But let me tell you, I went to bed on Friday probably around 2 or 3 o'clock to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, which was fine. That's normal for me. My cats usually wake me up at 8 o'clock anyway, and especially my one Noodle, I have to cuddle him every morning at 8 a.m. He has to have the attention. That's just how he is. So I'm fine with that. But I woke up at 8 a.m. Another thing that you may not know about me is, yes, I do smoke. I know it's a terrible habit. But that's just how I am right now. I will quit eventually. Eventually is the key word. But anyway, so woke up, went outside, had a cigarette like I normally do. And everything was fine. You know. And then, I think around like 11 o'clock, I decided, 11, 12 o'clock, I was going to take a nap. Because I'd already got up, I started cleaning the apartment, yada yada yada. I started getting really tired. Laid down, woke up at 1 o'clock, exactly 1 o'clock. Went outside to have my cigarette, and I noticed this old man, just walking around. So I was like, okay, and I saw that he was wearing a uniform. So I was like, okay. Well, basically my first thought, honestly, because it was just creeping me out that he was walking around anyway. So I was like, I'm just gonna look at my phone, ignore him. That's all I'm gonna do. Like, I don't want drama, whatever. If I ignore him, maybe he'll go away. Didn't happen. Next thing I know, he is literally right next to me, on my porch, and is like, excuse me, can you help me? I was like, okay. I said, possibly. You know, he's like, well, do you know anyone that lives here that works at a pizza place? And no, at the time I didn't know any. And he's like, oh, well, I'm looking for apartment 704. And, basically, I was like, well, yeah, they live across from me, you know, And he's like, would you mind knocking on the door? And no. So he like forcibly grabs my hand. And mind you, at this point in time, this is like an 80-year-old man wearing a security officer's uniform. And basically, he grabbed my hand so forceful that I couldn't even take it away. And walked me to there because he didn't want me falling. That's what he says. So I knocked on the door, there was no answer. So then he took my hand again and walked me back to my door, to which I basically told him that I had to go. And then I mentioned that, you know, I'll let her know that you were here. Never mention any names, you know. And he's like, no, don't say anything because you don't know how people are going to react. Which to me, I just sit there and thought, well, that's weird. You know, because beforehand when I had asked, before he had mentioned the apartment number, he had told me, he was told to come here to hook up for discounts for pizza. Which to me sounds a little odd to begin with, because if you're gonna go, why would somebody give you their address for pizza discounts? Like, wouldn't you just be like, yeah, just come to the store on this day, and you wouldn't give out your address? No way. And I know her, she wouldn't do it either. And so, like I said, didn't mention any names, but, you know, told him that, you know, well, I'll let them know. He was like, no, don't tell them, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, that's kind of weird. I was like, well, it's weird that they're not answering to begin with because, you know, his truck's here. And once again, did not even, oh, give me a second. Did not even mention what, you know, what his truck was, blah, blah, blah. I was just like, I didn't point out which one was his truck. And so then he starts asking me questions. And he was like, well, how old are you? I was like, I'm 28. And then he was like, do you have children? And I said, no. So then he goes, do you want children? And I was like, yeah, with my boyfriend. Which at the time I didn't really think like he was insinuating that he wanted me to have his kids. But it got to that point very fast. Because then he starts, then he starts asking me, basically, if, I'm sorry, I'm just like going through my head here. He asked me if I would go and knock on the door again, and I said sure. So he took my hand once again, forcefully, forced me up there, knocked on the door, no answer, took my hand, forced me back, and then he forced me into a hug, kissed the top of my head, basically, which was a little odd, said that, you know, I was gorgeous, you know, basically kept telling me I'm beautiful, that he loved my outfit at the time, and my outfit was literally a tank top and pajama pants. Apparently he loved my outfit. And it was just really, really difficult for me because, you know, you don't expect like an 80-year-old man, especially one wearing like a security guard uniform, to sit there and act that way, you know. And after he had hugged me the second time, forced me into a hug, basically I told him once again that I had to go, and he sits there and goes, oh, are you getting hot? And I'm like, well, it's like 80 something degrees here, of course it's hot outside. He's like, that's not what I meant, but that's cute. And at that point in time, I was just like, nope. I was like, I'm sorry, I really, really need to go. I have to be somewhere in about 30 minutes. So I'm really, really sorry. And he's like, no, you're fine. So then he takes my hand and kisses the top of my hand, takes his other hand and brushes my face, says, you're just darling. You know, your boyfriend's a lucky man. And I was like, okay. You know, it's a little odd, but okay. Instantly walked inside, locked the door, washed my face, washed my hands, because it was just creepy. And so I couldn't get a hold of my boyfriend. I ended up having to get a hold of a couple of my friends. He's just like, well, if he shows up again, let me know. I'll be over there as soon as possible. So it's like, okay. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. However, I literally spent all of Saturday since then. All of Saturday, I had my taser with me, my pepper spray. You know, I was just like, anytime I had to step outside, I was prepared in case he showed up. Because I was so scared. And I didn't even get my neighbor's side until Monday night. And when I was talking to her, what she had told me was this guy showed up at the pizza place that she just started at. And the funny thing is, if he would have told me the pizza joint, I would have known right away, like, what he was saying was untrue to begin with, because that pizza place, I know for a fact, does not do discounts. We've been going there for 6 years. We go there at least once, maybe twice a month. We know, like, you know, we know, like, everyone who works there, blah, 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 like, the owner even. But so I was talking to her, and she flat out told me, like, she was working, 'cause she's a server there, and she was working, and one of our neighbors had came in, and started talking about, because they redid our whole entire parking lot, so we were forced to find a new place to park for a night. And so she was talking to one of our neighbors, who she actually knows is a neighbor, and saying, well, yeah, I'm, you know, this apartment number. And the neighbor was like, oh, I'm this apartment number. That guy was like 2 tables away, overheard it. Literally overheard it. And decided to show up. And basically, apparently on Saturday, he had showed up and was trying to get her into work. And that's when he showed up here. And so apparently they had to actually kick him out of the restaurant because he was making very, very, very lewd comments to the other female servers there. And I mean, from what she was telling me, they are very, very lewd, and I don't want to even repeat them. And then on Sunday, my boyfriend still wasn't back yet. He was on his way though, and because he had gotten all my text messages, and they're saying, you know, because I told him everything that happened via text, because he didn't have any cell reception. I knew that would be the first thing that he would, you know, get. So I texted him, he called me, I told him everything that happened. He's like, okay, I'm about 4 hours away, you know, as soon as I get home, like, you know, we'll make sure. Well, I think like 2 hours after he'd called me, the guy showed up again. So I instantly called my boyfriend, wasn't even outside. I was inside my apartment watching him from my curtains. Literally shows up on Sunday. I kid you not. He walks up to my neighbor's door, starts knocking. Didn't get any response, so he started walking back to his car. Would get out of his car, walk all the way back. He spent a good hour doing this. I'd say 30 minutes to an hour. And from what she was telling me on Monday, was that he was twisting the doorknob, pounding on the door, trying to break in, basically. And, like, that was it. You know, we talked to our maintenance man, who is going to pass it up to the management here, because he's not a resident. I do know what type of car that he drives. We don't know his name. We just know what type of car he drives and what it looks like. But we don't know his name. We don't have his plates yet. We're hoping that he shows up either back here or back at the pizza joint, so we can get that information so we can actually make an official police report on harassment and trespassing, because honestly, I'm still just so shaken, and it's very hard for me to walk outside right now without, you know, my mace or, you know, my taser, because I'm so scared. But eventually, like, I ended up texting my friends again saying that he showed up again. My boyfriend's on his way home. You know, I don't know what he's gonna do. Thankfully, he didn't come near my apartment on Sunday. He was just honestly trying to break into theirs. But I definitely learned something on Saturday, which was, you know, I was brought up to respect your elders. I was brought up to respect people in uniforms. That's how I was brought up. I was not prepared or taught with how do you deal with sexual harassment from older people. And even then, it still just shakes me, because you gotta think, like, he literally is over 80 years old, wearing a security guard outfit to begin with, and for him to sit there and make all these lewd comments, not just to me, but to other women out there, and he gets away with it because it's so off-putting that you wouldn't think that an old man would do that. You really wouldn't think that, because your first thought is that they should know better. They're, you know, they're older. They should be wise. You know, they should know better. And this guy clearly doesn't. He's willing to go to extremes to get what he wants. And, I mean, at one point in time, he even told me, like, because he asked me where my boyfriend was after he asked me about the kids. And I had told him my boyfriend was at a friend's house. We'll be back, you know, any minute now. And that's why I have to leave, because I'm actually going to meet his parents. And then he's like, well, I only take a minute, darling. I'm just like, excuse me? Like, you're not getting in my apartment. Like, just everything. It's gross. It was very uncalled for, and it's just like, he should have known better. And I literally just can't believe that this is something that happened to me, let alone happen to other people out there. You know, the poor servers at this pizza joint, literally, they're waiting for him to come back because they want him to. They want to kick him out. They want to call the cops. They want to make a report because he's now harassing all these other girls, all these other females, women, whatever, you know, trying to get into their pants. And I just can't believe it. And basically, like I said, I wanted to do this video to kind of help me process what had happened, and to also kind of explain why I haven't had any videos going on lately. I did plan on doing like a huge get to know me kind of video, because obviously you guys don't know a lot about me, and I do have quite a few followers or subscribers on here now, so I figured I would do a get to know me, so that way you guys actually, you know, get to know me and get to know who you're subscribing to. And I was gonna do that. I found, you know, a couple more tag videos. I was gonna do those, a couple of reviews, and I had just this plan, but because of everything, I mean, I didn't even sleep on Saturday. I couldn't sleep. I was so scared that this old man was gonna show up in the middle of the night and try to break in. I couldn't sleep. And my boyfriend finally got home, I think like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock. At that point in time, I had been up for over 24 hours. And I was like tired, cranky, scared. I was feeling the emotion. I was on an emotional roller coaster, let me tell you. So it's just like, I'm still trying to come down from it. And I couldn't do any videos because anything taking time off of watching that window. Taking time from trying to listen to see if he's breaking in, or, just taking time in general to anything that would distract me. I couldn't do it. It's sad, but I couldn't do it. And I'm sorry that this is not one of my normal videos. But I also kind of wanted to do this too, not just for my sake, but for your guys' sake, because I do want to let it out there that it doesn't matter what age people are. If they want to harass you like that, they will. It doesn't matter. It's really off-putting that, when the guy is over 80 years old, and you wouldn't think that they would, but obviously, if they want to, it doesn't matter. They will do it. And I just hope that with me doing this, like, you guys can understand or be a little more prepared for if it ever happens to anyone you know, or you, or just anyone in general that you may know. Like, you can be a little more prepared, because honestly, I never thought in a million years that I would be sexually harassed by, an 80-year-old man. Like, I just never thought of it. And it's super hard to even still deal with it. Just because I'm still going through the motions. But hopefully, we are hoping that, like I said, he does show up, so that way we can get his license plate, and everything. So, but that is where I'm gonna leave this, because honestly, I have like 1,000,001 stories, of things like that actually have happened to me, unfortunately, in my life. So if this has ever happened to you, or worse, I am so sorry. Honestly, I can't even begin to imagine. And like I said, I've had worse things happen to me that was on this line. But I can't get into that one right now, at least. But I'm gonna leave it here, and if you guys have any comments or anything, just leave them down below, and I'll get to you as soon as I can, given the circumstances. I'm hoping. I'm gonna try to make more videos here shortly. Like I said, I do apologize for not being there lately. I do like to try to post, at least if, not once a week, but, maybe 2-3 times a week. And I obviously didn't get there last week. But that's okay. I will be okay eventually. But yeah, I will hopefully see you guys here very shortly. Bye, guys.